Have you ever stopped to think that maybe, just maybe, the most important things in life are the ones you can't actually see? Well, today we're going to dive into this powerful, ancient way of looking at the world, a framework that connects everything from the entire cosmos right down to our own bodies.
This quote from Lao Tzu, it just hits the nail on the head, you know? The whole point of a pot isn't the clay itself, it's the empty space inside that you can fill. It's the same with a room, or even the silence between notes in a song. The real value, the purpose, often comes from what's not there.
And look, this isn't just some nice poetic idea. We live in a world that is obsessed with what's tangible, right? The solid stuff, the numbers, the finished products, the obvious symptoms. But what if focusing only on what we can see and measure means we're missing, like, half the picture?
To really get that full picture, there's an ancient Chinese philosophy that gives us a key. It's this dual perspective, a concept called sushi. And it's all about learning to see both the seen and the unseen at the exact same time.
So what in the world are Su and Shi? Okay, think of them as two sides of reality's coin. Su, that's the unseen. It's pure potential. It's space. It's the latent energy. Imagine a huge, calm ocean of possibility. Then you have Shi. That's the stuff you can see and touch. It's the actual, the concrete. It's the wave that for a moment rises up out of that vast ocean of potential.
Now, their relationship has three kind of like ground rules. First, they always exist together. You simply cannot have one without the other. The stars, that's the Shi, they're only beautiful because of the immense dark void of space around them, the Shu. The space gives the form its meaning.
Second, even though they're always together, to make any sense of the world, we have to learn how to tell them apart. Think about a doctor. A good doctor can't just treat the cough and the fever. That's the Shi, the obvious stuff. They have to look deeper for the underlying weakness, the root cause. That's the Shu.
And third, and this is where it gets really dynamic, they are constantly changing into one another. It's a dance. Hu becomes Shi, and Shi dissolves back into Hu. You know, like when a kid blows a soap bubble, this shimmering, perfect little sphere, a Shi, appears out of thin air, and then pop, it vanishes right back into the air, back to Hu. That cycle is everything. It's life, growth, and decay.
Okay, so this might all sound like ancient philosophy, right? But here's where things get absolutely wild. This very same idea pops up with these stunning parallels in some of the biggest discoveries of modern science.
Let's talk about entropy. You know that fundamental law of the universe that says everything is always moving toward a state of disorder and chaos? Well, that state of maximum disorder, that's basically a state of maximum Shu. So life, with all its beautiful structure and complexity, that's a temporary little island of Shi, a pocket of order in this huge cosmic ocean that's always trying to pull it back into chaos.
And the connection to quantum physics? It's mind-blowing. Before we observe a tiny particle, it doesn't actually exist in one single spot. It exists in what's called a superposition. It's a cloud of pure probability, a field of potential states. That is pure Shu. It's only when we measure it, when we look, that its reality collapses into one single definite state. It becomes Shi. The potential becomes actual.
Even the most solid things in our world are not what they seem. Take a cotton shirt. It feels totally solid, right? A clear Shi object. But let's zoom in. You see fibers and a lot of space. Zoom in more, you see molecules. Then you see atoms, which it turns out are almost entirely empty space. And if you could go even deeper, that solid shirt just dissolves. It becomes a shimmering wave of energy and probability. It goes from Shi right back to pure Zu.
It's the same thing in chemistry. Atoms, they're the raw potential, the Shu. But if you take the same atoms, say carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen, and just arrange them in different structures, you get completely different realities, different Shi. One arrangement gives you table sugar, another gives you protein. The unseen pattern defines the seen reality.
All right, so we've looked at the cosmos and the quantum world. Now let's bring this all the way home, to the most personal thing there is, our own health, because this framework can totally change how we think about our bodies.
This quote from a carpenter, it's just perfect. He gets this idea instinctively. He realized that his arthritis and his aging, it wasn't just about things breaking down on the surface, the Shi. It was about the collapse of his body's internal spaces and structures, the Shu. The scaffolding was getting weak, And that's what was causing the problems in the building.
And if you think that's just a nice metaphor, check out this case study. They were treating people with severe foot pain. When doctors focused only on the foot itself, the obvious problem, the she, they had about a 60% success rate. But another group completely ignored the foot. Instead, they worked on restoring the space and alignment in the leg, the hip, and the lower back, the supporting su. Their success rate was almost 99%. They fixed the seen by treating the unseen.
Okay, so the million-dollar question, how do we actually use this incredible idea in our own lives? Well, the key is to develop what the source material calls a dual vision.
Dual vision basically means training ourselves to see the world with two eyes at once. One eye stays focused on the she, the facts on the ground, the present situation, the solid results. But your other eye is always looking for the xu, the unseen potential, the hidden patterns, the space where things could change and grow.
And when you can do that, you unlock 3 levels of perception. Level 1 is just seeing the she. You see the traffic jam, you're stuck. Level 2 is seeing the su. You start to see the patterns, the bad intersection, the time of day that's causing the jam. But level 3, that's the real magic. You see the interaction between them, which lets you see the future. You anticipate the jam before it even happens, and you just take a different route.
There's that great Zen story that just nails this idea. A master keeps pouring tea into a student's cup, even after it's overflowing. The student's like, "Stop, it's full." And the master says, "The mind is just like that cup. When we only focus on the she, on what's already there, what we think we know, we leave no room, no shu, for any new ideas or new possibilities to come in."
And really, that's the thought I want to leave you with. In your work, your relationships, your health, where are you so focused on the solid clay walls of the pot, the she, that you're completely forgetting that the real power, the real magic, lies in its emptiness, the hue?